Hello everybody, this is Sir Jet and welcome to another episode of the Rizal Lectures. Today I am here at the Pasiano Rizal Shrine in Los Baños, Laguna. Behind me is the house of Pasiano Rizal, the brother of Jose Rizal, our national hero. Do you know that after Jose was shot in Luneta, Pasiano joined the Katipunan? In fact, he led the operation to liberate the town of Calamba from the Spanish military. He and his men surrounded the church and they fooled the Spanish soldiers by using firecrackers. The Spaniards thought that they had lots of guns, but actually they were just firecrackers. And so the Spaniards surrendered to them. During the Phil-Am War, Pasiano rose to the rank of a general. Now, after the Phil-Am War, Pasiano retired from public eye and lived peacefully and quietly in this house in Los Baños. Today, we will talk about Rizal the Revolutionary. Had not Rizal died, many say that maybe he would have joined the Katipunan just like his brother. Let's learn more in this episode of the Rizal Lectures. Today's episode is probably the most interesting or the most eye-popping lesson in this series. We entitled this Rizal the Revolutionary. To begin with, let me show you this picture. This is a picture of General Artemio Ricarte. But what I want you to look at carefully is his uniform. This is called the rayadillo. This is what our soldiers wore during the Philippine Revolution. This is the same uniform that General Antonio Luna, Gregorio del Pilar, and Pasiano Rizal wore when they fought against the enemy. Many say that had not Rizal died in Luneta, maybe he could have worn a rayadillo too. So just to satisfy our imagination, I have here a Photoshop version of Rizal wearing a rayadillo. Does he look handsome in it? Bagay ba? Now, this lecture has two parts. In the first part, we will talk about Rizal, the anti-revolutionary person. And in the second part, we will talk about Rizal as a revolutionary and the prime mover of the revolution. So let's begin with part 1. This is the Rizal that everybody knows. A very peaceful man, an anti-revolutionary person. Most people believe that Rizal was never a revolutionary and he was very much against a revolution because what he really wanted was assimilation. Assimilation means that the Philippines would become a province of Spain, not an independent country. This is what the Ilustrados fought for when they wrote in the La Solidaridad. All they wanted was better treatment from the Spaniards and not total separation from Spain. And Rizal, being a member of the Ilustrados, is assumed to have the same beliefs. What are the clues that we have proving that Rizal was anti-revolutionary? We have many. Number 1, his novels. At the very end of El Filibusterismo, Simon died. It's a symbolism of a failed revolution. What Simon was representing did not materialize. The author could be saying that don't pursue a revolution. It will just die. It will not be successful, just like what happened to Simon. Another clue is what I have mentioned earlier, the propaganda movement. The Ilustrados advocating assimilation through the La Solidaridad. Number 3 is Rizal's testimony in his trial. When he was arrested, there was a trial. He was asked by the court regarding his involvement in the Katipunan and in the revolution. And he straightforwardly asserted that he was not a KKK member and he's very loyal to Spain. In fact, he called Spain Mother Spain. So there was a direct declaration of Rizal that he is not for the revolution and that he loved Spain so much. Number 4 clue that Rizal was anti-revolutionary is the 1896 Pio Valenzuela testimony. Pio Valenzuela, a Katipunero, was likewise captured by the Spaniards. And he also had a trial, and he said in his trial that Rizal was anti-revolutionary. And number 5, the Katipuneros used Rizal's name as a battle cry. Now, we will discuss in detail the last two clues. Let's study carefully the 1896 Pio Valenzuela testimony. It was in 1896 that the revolution started, and one of the first captives was Pio Valenzuela. During his trial, Valenzuela admitted that he visited Rizal in Dapitan to ask him to join the Katipunan. And according to Valenzuela, Rizal turned him down. He was really anti-revolution. Valenzuela recalled the exact words Rizal said. According to him, Jose Rizal exclaimed, "No, no, and 1,000 more no's. What can your bolos and spears do to the guns and cannons of the Spaniards? You will just be wasting your blood for nothing." So Rizal is saying that it's a mismatch. It's a sure loss. Don't pursue a revolution. He was very strong. He said, "I will say no to you 1,000 times. The revolution will not work. It's a big waste of time, effort, and lives." Furthermore, Valenzuela, in his trial, mentioned that upon returning to Manila from Dapitan, he reported to Bonifacio what Rizal told him. And Bonifacio, being a die-hard Rizal fan, had a change of heart. Upon hearing the "no, no, and 1,000 no's" dialogue, Bonifacio was so angry at Rizal now. He cursed Rizal continuously for half a day. Bonifacio shouted, "Duwag pala si Rizal! Duwag! Duwag!" And so Bonifacio is no longer a believer of Rizal at this point in time. Which leads us to clue number 5. The Katipuneros shouting Rizal's name in the battlefield. According to historian Ambet Ocampo, this is not really a show of their loyalty and admiration for Rizal, but a frame-up. When the Katipuneros would shout, "Mabuhay si Dr. Jose Rizal!" when they charge at the Spaniards, it's actually a deliberate way of trying to make the Spaniards believe that Rizal is their leader, so that the Spaniards would arrest Rizal. Why would they do that? Because their Supremo, Andres Bonifacio, is now a hater of Rizal. And he must have told his men to do this act so that Bonifacio can get back at Rizal for not accepting his invitation to join the Katipunan. Would Bonifacio order his men to do so? There's a very big chance. Do you know that Andres Bonifacio had this habit of employing dirty tactics against his enemies? One time, when he tried to solicit for financial support from the rich Filipinos, he got rejected. Before the revolution began, Bonifacio roamed around the streets of Manila soliciting money from the rich Filipino businessmen so that he can have funds to buy weapons. But the rich Filipinos turned him down. They said they don't want to get involved in such a trouble. And besides, many of the rich Filipinos have Spanish friends. So it's very hard for them to shell out money for the revolution. This infuriated Bonifacio. And so when the revolution began, Bonifacio ordered the planting of fake documents to implicate the rich Filipinos in the revolution. Bonifacio's men placed fake receipts in the homes of the rich Filipinos. Receipts that say that this rich man gave money to the Katipunan. So when the Spaniards searched the homes of these rich Filipinos, they saw these receipts and they believed that this man is a supporter of the Katipunan. So many rich Filipinos got themselves arrested, tortured, and imprisoned because of these fake receipts. And so Bonifacio had the last laugh. He must be thinking, you did not help me, so now I will exact revenge on you. You will get arrested by the Spaniards. So if Bonifacio can do this to the rich Filipinos, he can also do this to Rizal. And so that's the theory that Rizal was actually framed up by the Katipunan because he was anti-revolution. So this is the last clue that we have, that Rizal was anti-revolution. So in essence, Rizal was anti-revolution, and so he became Bonifacio's most hated man. But wait! There are also clues that Rizal was pro-revolution, and in fact, he was the prime mover of the Philippine Revolution. What are our clues? The 1917 and the 1935 Pio Valenzuela testimony. Pio Valenzuela survived the revolution. He did not die in the battlefield or in prison. So after the war, he became a regular citizen. And during the American period, Pio Valenzuela was interviewed by journalists and historians, and he gave more details on his meeting with Rizal in Dapitan. The first interview happened in 1917, and another one was conducted in 1935. Both interviews were identical in content. This time around, Valenzuela said that Rizal was not against the revolution per se, but he was against the timing of the revolution. Valenzuela said that he just gave a false testimony to the Spaniards when he was under trial during the revolution in 1896. He said the false testimony to protect Rizal. Valenzuela then gave a very detailed account of his conversation with Rizal in Dapitan. He said that Rizal gave him several advices on how to make the revolution successful. His very first advice was to acquire more arms. He said, do not start the revolution now because you lack arms. Wait for a better timing when you will be better supplied with arms. So he did not really say no, no, and 1,000 no's. He just said, wait, get more arms, and then go and fight the Spaniards. Then Rizal gave him more specific advices on how to conduct the revolution. Another Rizal advice was this: in order for the revolution to succeed, you'll need the rich Filipinos. Without them, you won't succeed. They will most likely support the Spaniards, and they will be your worst enemies because they will turn you over to the Spaniards. If you can't win them over to your side, at least keep them neutral. So Rizal said that you cannot win the revolution by yourselves. You need the cooperation of the rich Filipinos. Now, this group is a very dangerous group because they have Spanish friends and they might turn you over to the Spaniards. So, better be friends with the rich Filipinos. If you can't win them to your side, at least keep them neutral. Now, this belief of Rizal can be seen in the Noli Me Tangere. Remember the crocodile fight scene? There was a chapter in the Noli wherein a crocodile came out of the lake and attacked the friends of Ibarra. And then Elias, who was their boatman, wrestled with the crocodile. He cannot win at first until Ibarra jumped into the water himself and helped Elias defeat the crocodile. The symbolism is this: the crocodile is Spain, Elias is the lower class Filipinos, and Ibarra is the elite, the rich Filipinos. If the lower class Filipinos would struggle against Spain, they will not win unless the elite would also jump into the fight and help the lower class Filipinos put up a united stand against the Spaniards. And this is Rizal's advice number 2 to Valenzuela. Advice number 3 is this. Rizal said, get Antonio Luna in your team. He will be of great help. He has access to the homes of the rich Filipinos because he's a rich Filipino himself. He can direct the operations of the revolution once the fighting breaks out. So Luna is Rizal's friend. They were together in Europe, and Rizal knew that this man, Antonio Luna, has a great potential in leading the revolution, especially in the battlefield. So he told Pio Valenzuela, find this man, he's in Manila, recruit him in the Katipunan. He will be a very valuable piece. And so Valenzuela returned to Manila, told Bonifacio these advices, and they followed everything Rizal said. First, they tried to get more guns by soliciting from the Japanese military. There was a time when a Japanese battleship was docked on Manila Bay, and some Katipuneros came on board and had a secret meeting with the Japanese admiral. They solicited guns or funds to buy guns, but the Japanese admiral turned them down. So the Katipuneros just ordered 1,000 bolos from Bulacan and another 1,000 bolos from Cavite. They had members working in a bolo factory in those provinces. Then the Katipunan tried to get the help of rich Filipinos, and that's the story I told you a while ago. They just got rejected by the rich Filipinos. And finally, they also tried to get in touch with Antonio Luna, and we all know that Luna became a great general during the Phil-Am War part of the revolution. Rizal also told Valenzuela his plans. Once the revolution breaks out, he intends to go to Japan, and there he would put up a school for Filipinos. He would be the director or principal of that school. Valenzuela commented that he prefers Rizal to be here in the Philippines and direct the revolution rather than be in Japan and direct a school. But Rizal's reply was astonishing. He told Pio Valenzuela, "I'm ready for both," who said that you cannot direct a school and a revolution at the same time. Furthermore, Rizal mentioned to Valenzuela that his motive for applying for the post of a military doctor in the Spanish-Cuban War. He said his real intention was to observe how the Cubans were fighting, what's their secret formula, why they are successful in defeating the Spaniards in the battles of the Cuban Revolution. Once in Cuba, Rizal would take notes on how the war over there was being fought and share his notes to the Katipuneros. So we too can be successful versus the Spaniards in our own revolution. It was a very long meeting. Rizal continued on with more advices. Advice number 4 for Valenzuela is this. He said, once you obtained arms, start the revolution right away. And when you have started, concentrate in the fight. Don't think too much about me. I can take care of myself. Don't send people to help me evacuate from Dapitan because I can escape with the help of the Moros. Remember, the Moros were his friends. He treated them of their diseases. So, if he would need their help for him to exit from Philippine territory to a safe place, the Moros would help him using their vintas or colorful boats. Rizal can easily slip away to Sabah. And as for the Katipuneros, they can just concentrate their efforts in the battlefields of Luzon. Wait, there's more. Valenzuela also said that Bonifacio really didn't curse Rizal. The cursing story that he told the Spaniards in his trial, that's not true. What Bonifacio actually did was he analyzed well the advices of Rizal and accepted everything his idol advised him. Valenzuela just made up the cursing story to mislead the Spaniards and in doing so protect Rizal. He wanted the Spaniards to think that Rizal has no hand in the Katipunan and he's very much against the revolution. So we can clearly see in the 1917 and 1935 Valenzuela testimonies that Rizal was not anti-revolution but pro-revolution because he was the major advisor of the Katipunan. And come to think of it, Rizal was not only an advisor of the Katipunan, but also the main driving force behind its existence. Before the meeting of Valenzuela and Rizal in Dapitan, Bonifacio was already a big fan of Rizal. He read the Noli and the Fili, and he was also a member of the La Liga Filipina. And after the La Liga Filipina disbanded, Bonifacio continued what Rizal has started, but with a different means. So as you can see, without Rizal, Bonifacio wouldn't have started the revolution. So Rizal was the prime mover of the revolution. Here are other clues that Rizal was really a revolutionary. This comes from the records of the Spanish authorities during the revolution. One report says that a Filipino policeman from Bulacan testified to the Spaniards that he was a Katipunero and they planned to put up Rizal as president of the Philippines after they have won independence. Another captured Katipunero from Mindoro says that Rizal was the honorary president of the Katipunan. That's why his painting or his portrait hangs in every camp of the Katipunan. There were also written speeches of Katipuneros intercepted by the Spaniards. One of them was written by Emilio Jacinto. And in the speech, it says there, "Long live freedom, long live Dr. Jose Rizal." So as you can see, Rizal was really pretty much behind the Katipunan in spirit. Thus, when the Katipuneros went out in the battlefield, they shouted the name of Rizal to acknowledge the man who started the fire of the revolution in their hearts. They were sincere in saying that Rizal is the man behind this fight. Now, after you have heard both sides, Rizal, the anti-revolution man, and Rizal being pro-revolution, what is your judgment? You can start by asking yourself, can Pio Valenzuela be trusted? He had different accounts for the same event. He was a young man when he gave the 1896 testimony, and he was an old man in 1935. Was he accurate in recalling events and dialogues that happened decades ago? How reliable are the testimonies of Pio Valenzuela? And the bigger question to ask is, in your opinion, was Rizal really a revolutionary? What is your judgment? So there, we are done with this episode. I hope you learned many things. This is Sir Jet saying goodbye and thank you.